Hello, welcome to video number 3 of Android Programming Series. Please feel free to subscribe to this channel or to follow us on mrbutka.net. If you click on Android Programming, it will bring you to a website that will have an index of the videos created within this series, useful links, and all code resources for all the examples in this series. Last time we left off, we had created our first application, but we hadn't run it. So what we're going to do this time is we're going to go to that next lesson and we're going to learn how to run the app. Now there's a couple ways you can run it, and if you read through this, again, the videos are not a substitute for reading the actual tutorials. You'll learn a lot about the folder layouts within Eclipse, the ADT, and you also have two options. You can either run your application on a real device, which in my opinion is where the real fun's at, or you can use an emulator if you don't have an Android device or if you want to test it for a particular type of Android device. Now, the downfall to the emulator is that it takes a little bit longer to actually run, much longer than, in my opinion, it should. So let's try the emulator first to sort of get a taste of it. So what we'll have to do is we'll create an Android virtual device manager. Now you can see this icon here to create one. So we're going to go ahead and click on that, and we'll just create a device, and let's call it my AVD. And then you'll have lots of options for phones. Maybe there's a particular type of phone you want to run yours on. I am just going to pick the Nexus 7. I'm not going to change the target API in this particular case. I will choose the Intel Atom, and I'm not really going to be too picky about any of these other options right now. So I'll just sort of cycle through them really quickly here, and then click OK. After waiting for a couple seconds, my device, my AVD, has been created. So I'm going to go ahead and close that. And now I'm going to actually try to run my project. Now, it's important that you have main activity.java selected, and then you go ahead and click Run. We're going to run this as an Android application. Okay, now that took me about 7 minutes to have my phone come up. So when you run through the steps, if it takes a while, you just have to be really patient. And again, that's one of the frustrations with the emulator. Now, there are websites you might be able to search through to sort of maximize the emulator to make it a little bit faster. And I've done some of those with a measure of success. But let's go ahead and use this. So now I'm able to look at my touchscreen and my applications. What I'm going to try to do now is that I see my apps here. I'm going to try to run this one more time. I'm going to do it with my AVD. And again, after waiting patiently, my first app is now uploaded on my emulator. And if I double click that or tap it, it shows the application, my first app, Hello World. So that's how you do it with the emulator. Now, obviously it takes a while, it takes a great deal of patience. Again, if you'd like to look at places that allow you to speed up the emulator a little bit, you might find some success. Some tutorials will walk you through using the Android SDK toolkit and making it a little bit faster. Again, my experience is it's had a little bit of success, but it's still way slower than a phone. So our next tutorial, we're going to go ahead and run the same application, but we're going to do it with our Android device.